Thanks for tuning in to STEM with Chantel. Today we are going to cover coroner cases. First, for coroner cases, let's look at case files. Regardless of whether you develop investigative protocols, it is incumbent upon you to maintain as thorough and organized set of investigative files as possible. The investigative files should include but not be restricted to the following: all reports, investigators' notes, sketches and death scene photographs, reports of autopsy and laboratory analysis of evidence, copies of all forms completed by the coroner, to include chain of custody forms and laboratory request forms. The major objective is to maintain as complete and proper a file as possible. Now let's get into coroners. Coroners may find the following definition of forensic pathology useful to their work. Forensic pathology is the branch of medical practice that produces evidence useful in the criminal justice administration, public health, and public safety. Under this definition are three key elements: cause of death, manner of death, mechanism of death. So first, let's get into the cause of death. The cause of death related to the disease, injury, or abnormality that alone or together in some combination initiates the physical and biological malfunctions that eventually leads to death. The cause of death can be thought of in terms of underlying or immediate cause of death. For example, a driver in an automobile dies in a single vehicle accident. The autopsy discloses that the driver had a blood alcohol level of 0.25 and the driver's heart had been pierced by a metal rod. The underlying cause of death would be penetrating trauma to the chest. The mechanism of death would be the heart failure due to the penetrating metal rod, and acute alcohol intoxication would be listed as the contributing factor. Now let's get into the manner of death. The manner of death pertains to the way the death occurred. Social relationships and personal causation are two elements involved in determining manner of death. Examples are the self-inflicted injuries of a suicide victim and the fatal injuries incurred as a result of accidental fire in a home. The usual classification of death are natural, accident, suicide, homicide, or undetermined. Now let's get into the mechanism of death. The mechanism of death refers to the process of death in which failure of one or more vital organs due to injury, disease, or natural events. For example, the mechanism of death for many diabetics is kidney failure. Other body organs such as the liver are adversely affected by kidney failure and death may follow. The actual cause of death may be due to heart or liver failure, but the diabetes was responsible for initiating the death process. Now let's get into ordering an autopsy. An autopsy is not required in every coroner case. However, if in doubt, request an autopsy be performed. Normally, a descendant's body is the property of the next of kin, such as a spouse, child, parent, brother or sister, nearest relative, guardian, or executor of the estate. However, in deaths that are unusual, unnatural, or suspicious in nature, the state has an overriding interest which supersedes the interest of the family. The coroner has a responsibility to order an autopsy on cases that are of interest to the state. Coroners are protected from liability when ordering an autopsy in good faith. Caution: do not take any fluids if an autopsy is planned, as this will introduce artifacts. Next, determining if an autopsy is required. If you can answer yes to all of the questions, you do not need to order an autopsy. You have sufficient evidence to sign off the case. If you answer no to more than two of the questions I'm about to read, then you definitely need an autopsy. The questions are: number 1, has the possibility of homicide been eliminated? Number 2, does external examination of the body give adequate evidence of the cause of death? Number 3, have necessary toxicological specimens been obtained? 4, is there no chance of civil litigation being filed? 5, will the evidence of suicide intent stand up in court? 6, is the descendant well known in the area? 7, was the event witnessed by more than one person? 8, was there documented evidence of disease if an apparent natural death? 9, have the next of kin accepted the death? Are they likely to harbor guilt feelings? 10, did symptoms precede the death in an apparent natural death? 11, was the deceased not in a motor vehicle? 12, was the deceased not in the workplace? 13, Has the body been positively identified? So if you can answer yes to all 13 of those questions, you do not need an autopsy. But if you answer no to more than 2 of those questions, you need one. Here's some more example of cases that always require an autopsy. There are some cases that always require an autopsy. Thanks for watching Coroner Cases. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.